this is the AM News. Let's get right into details. The national chair of the Al-Sunnah Youth Advisory Council and leader of Darut Tawhid Institute in Tamale, Sheikh Dr. Abu Dujana Ibn Basha, has begun mediation in the Zabzugu conflict between Dagombas and Kukumbas. Now, this follows a recent clash between hunters and farmers from the two tribes that claimed one life and destroyed properties worth thousands of Ghana cedis. The initiative is to help build a peaceful community for the two tribes. The Muslim cleric called on the people to learn to tolerate each other and work towards the development of the area.
Zugu N. Nyando after the murder of a farmer Alhassan Mumuni at Nyando by an unknown assailant last month. The residents continue to live in fear amidst threats of reprisal attacks. On a visit to the area, leader of the Darut Tawhid Institute in Tamale, Sheikh Dr. Abu Dujana Ibn Basha, said the people should consider the good times they have lived together and foster peace amongst themselves.
Consider the good times you have lived together, forgive each other, and move forward. Let's recognize the regions under development and work together to address these challenges. Come together and support one another for the betterment of the community.
The chief of Nyando and the regent of Zabzugu agreed for a reconciliation to ensure peace in the area.
Well, apologies for that bad sound. We'll bring you a revised one in our subsequent bulletins. But in other stories, the African Continental Free Trade Area is calling for effective reforms in intra-African trade that will help marginalized businesses thrive. The AFTA believes reforms such as reduction of non-tariff barriers, such as restrictive regulations on product standards and excessive border delays, can help unleash the full potential of marginalized businesses, especially ones owned by women and youth. Abigail Isel Nkrumah has more in this report.
Over the years, intra-African trade has been plagued by several factors that have challenged its success, especially for marginalized groups and businesses. At a meeting held in Cape Coast, the national coordinator for the African Continental Free Trade Area, Dr. Farid Arthur, believes women are treated unfairly as their potential and strength in business have been undermined.
Our economy is about 80% MSMEs. So women have a strong economic might, which we sometimes brush it under the carpet of informal sector. So they have not been given the proper due share of what they really deserve. And so in developing the AFCFTA, that issue came up that, look, we need not to make the mistake of developing a system that excludes some people. And when you look at the African demography, women form more than 50%, youth are about 70%. So there is a need to actually focus on them, to design, because they will grow with it. Women are already controlling the economy in most countries. The youth are already the majority across Africa. And so they are the people who we believe can grow with this initiative if you bring them in and you create the space for them to flourish. And so that is why the issue of women and children has gained a special place in the inclusive approach of the AFCFTA.
For the Central Regional Minister, whose words were echoed by the Acting Regional Coordinating Director, Blaise Kwame Dake, the reduction of non-tariffs and other challenges of intra-African trade will help businesses access a broader continental market.
The Central region is strategically positioned to take full advantage of the ACTA. Our region boasts a robust agro-processing industry, a thriving fisheries sector, a growing manufacturing base, and a dynamic tourism and hospitality industry. We are home to some of Ghana's most productive agricultural activities.
The Central Regional Director of the Department of Gender, questioning whether measures have been instituted to protect women during trading activities.
Have we put measures in place to protect women from exploitation, harassment, sexual and gender-based violence? These are the things I am looking for. So I am expecting them to throw more light in these areas, how they are going to protect the women from all this act.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Next, West Africa's nomadic fisher folk have practiced mobile fishing for centuries, but ongoing challenges continue to hinder their activities. To address these issues, the Environmental Policy Group of Wageningen University in the Netherlands organized a fisheries mobilities workshop at the University of Cape Coast. The workshop explored how socio-environmental pressures impact mobile fishing. Group member Idrisu Amadu emphasized the need for policy reforms in the fisheries sector to tackle these challenges. Abigail Nkrumah again.
At a fishery mobilities workshop championed by the Wageningen University in the Netherlands and other participating institutions, a member of the Environmental Policy Group of the university, Idrisu Amadu, reaffirmed the university's commitment to support fishing communities.
This workshop, I will say, is first of its kind, as highlighted by some of the representatives in their presentations this morning. You would hear that, this is something that hasn't received attention, so there hasn't even been a significant conversation around it. So I would say this is one of a kind. The idea is that our commitment continues, and wherever personally we are able to organize some support, we will definitely try to engage communities further, as well as policymakers who are very central in regulating these fisheries.
Natasha Kwame Damwa, the Central Regional Director of the Fisheries Commission, suggested that fisherfolk report themselves to the Commission before embarking on their fishing journey to ensure they are protected, and commented on the reason for mobile fishing.
Our sea is down in relation to the stocks level, and so they want to move to other countries that have used other strong enforcement to make sure they replenish theirs. And so I'm advising all fishers for them to make sure that they adhere to the advice that is being given by the Fisheries Commission, for that matter, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, to follow the rules and regulations of not using noxious substances such as the dynamite, the light, and the like in fishing, so that if our stocks level are gotten to a certain limit, then we all stay in our country without going to other places and face all other challenges that they've elaborated upon.
Emmanuel Tetetenkran, while lauding the workshop, expressed concern for mobile fishing.
For we at the FCWC, the migratory or the migration of fishers from one region to the other is of a great concern, and we believe that coming up with these regulatory reforms, it will be able to help manage their migratory movement. So if fishermen stay to the close season without moving to the other region because there's a close season there, then we are going to revamp our fish stocks, and then they wouldn't need to go through the hardship aforetime they would have faced.
The workshop was built on the theme, Rethinking Fisheries Governance in West Africa Through Mobility in a Changing Environment. From Cape Coast, Abigail Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Away from that, the Chief Executive Director of Life Again, Saudatu Mohammed, has urged the government to subsidize equipment costs for informal sector trainees who have completed their skills training. She noted that the high cost of tools hinder young entrepreneurs from starting their businesses, and she made this appeal during the International Women's Day Business Development Training in Wa. And our Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent, Rafiq Salam, reports.
Life Again, a non-governmental organization, organized a one-day business development training for graduate apprentices to mark this year's International Women's Day in Wa. 100 young women from the Wa municipality, including tailors, weavers, and hairdressers, were selected to participate in the event. The training aimed to equip them with entrepreneurial skills and knowledge to help them transform their vocational skills into profitable businesses, thereby empowering them economically. The business development training was held under the theme Accelerate Action from Skills to Startups. In an interview with Joy News, the Executive Director of Life Again, Saudatu Mohammed, shed more light on the program.
Most often, these young women, they learn the skill, they learn the vocational skill. So, for example, at the end of the day, they know how to sew or they know how to weave, but they don't know the business aspect of the vocational skill. So you find them, they have an employable skill that they can use to make money, but they are at home, still complaining that they don't have jobs. So we have decided to organize this event to address that gap by providing them entrepreneurial training to equip them with business skills and knowledge, teaching them the business aspect of their vocational skill.
Madam Saudatu also called on the government to subsidize the cost of equipment that these young entrepreneurs need to start their businesses.
I'm calling on the government to please, if there's a possibility of subsidizing some of these equipments, like the hairdressers, the master tailors, sewing machines, and all the other equipment that this young woman would use to be able to create something from their skill. We are really calling on government to subsidize some of these equipments so that this young woman can acquire them and put their vocational skills and whatever business training we've given them today to good use.
Our Regional Director of the Ghana Enterprise Agency, GEA, Mohamed Abdul Mumin, noted that the business development training serves as a fertile ground for identifying potential entrepreneurs and enrolling them to various GA programs.
The opportunity for these people is for them to come. We enroll them into our current program, Business in the Box. We shortly call it BizBoss, which is financed and sponsored by MasterCard Foundation in collaboration with Ghana Enterprises Agencies.
Two of the beneficiaries shared their experiences with Joy News, highlighting what they had learned from the training.
They teach us how to handle our customers and how to welcome our customers and how to run our business. So I'm so grateful to that.
I learned something about using our phone. Example, TikTok. We shouldn't use TikTok for only movies, but we should use them for our website.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The Greater Rural Opportunities for Women 2 project, led by Mennonite Economic Development Associates with funding from Global Affairs Canada, has held a review workshop in Tamale. The session assessed progress in soybean and groundnut markets, explored ways to drive sustainable change. Now, findings will shape the project's final phase and support women farmers and agribusinesses. Let's tell you more in this report.
The Integrated Market System Assessment is a diagnostic approach to achieving system change through comprehensive analysis of a particular agri-food market system. This is done through these three dimensions, economic, social, and environmental, to determine the root cause of market failures and to inform MEDE's project and regional interventions in that agri-food system. Speaking at the review meeting, the country project manager of GROW2, Francis Esuma, explained that the workshop would serve as a platform for collaborative learning and reflections, ensuring that GROW2 strategies remain adaptable.
Almost all the communities that you go, you will see a woman working on the GROW2 project who is empowered to do different things. Some of them are representing seed dealers. Some of them are representing inoculants dealers who have fridges and retailing inoculants. Some of them are also representing aggregators to serve their members. Some of them are having shelling centers. Some of them are even offering planting services.
The plant breeder, Professor Sanatu Mustafa Alidu, said the project has offered her lots of exposure and business opportunities.
I think about 80% of the way I do my business has changed tremendously because when I got into this project, I've had exposure to attend conferences outside Tamale.
Another participant, Mary Ali Lar, said the project has helped her grow her business.
Middle Growth 2 has supported me in so many ways. We've gone through trainings to see how we could improve on our supply, supported us with training as to how to handle our foods. They've supported us in so many ways, giving us equipment to be able to make quality products.
Moving on, Canadian philanthropist Daniel McCartney has handed over a renovated 3-classroom block and a nursery unit to the Yilo Yalili community in Sagnerugu. He emphasized education's role in economic growth and urged residents to maintain the facilities. Here's more.
The renovation will offer the children of Yilo Yalili a conducive environment for learning. This is not the first time McCartney is showing kindness to the people of Yilo Yalili. Speaking to the media, the Canadian philanthropist Daniel McCartney made a special appeal to parents to encourage their children, especially girls, to explore their talents in sports.
So education is the key. I know there's a lot of unemployment in the country, and a lot of people with good education don't have jobs, but if you do have a job, you're going to be better off, and you have many more options, and you can learn more. So to me, I see that friends who I grew up with in Canada, who didn't go on to high school or didn't go on to university, they have suffered relative to what we have been able to do. So I've seen it firsthand in my culture, and I think it's very true in your culture too. And it's hard for a lot of parents to realize that when they have not had the opportunity to go to school themselves.
The Sagnerugu Municipal Coordinator assured the philanthropist that the community would maintain the facility.
In fact, what he did, we cannot in a way express our feeling of gratitude. But what we can say is that we are very grateful and we thank God for bringing him to step in to this community and to the school.
On his part, the chief of Yilo Yalili traditional area in Yab Yilo thanked Mr. McCartney for his continued support to the Yilo Yalili community.
Myself and my people are very happy for your kind gesture. We pray God will richly bless you for what you have given to us. But whoever can help should come to our aid. The schools still need furniture. Some of the classrooms, the children are struggling due to inadequate furniture.
Up next, Benjamin Akakpo serves you Business Update.
Welcome to Business Update. We kickstart matters with our currency market for today. Let's get into our first story. An economist, Professor Govt Bokpin, has reiterated calls for a renegotiation of the IMF program. He argues the program design, benchmarks and growth targets are unsustainable and insufficient to reduce poverty. Hence, the need for the current government to take a relook at the parameters. He cautioned there would be severe challenges after the completion of the program in 2026.
Maintain the position much earlier that the program needs to be renegotiated. We need to take another look at the program, because if you look at the program design, the structure, the benchmark, the indicative targets, and the growth trajectory, that growth will be insufficient to lift millions of Ghanaians out of poverty. And if you look at the new mandate, the parties, the government manifesto and all of that, it's going to be challenging situating that within the IMF supported program without disruptions. Then again, the most important thing is to say that because over the years we have not been able to maintain macroeconomic stability for long, so the program will deliver some relative macroeconomic stability. But what happens after 2026? Especially after 2026 is when you see the bullet repayment from our debt restructuring. Will the country be able to have the framework to be able to absorb those repayments and be able to also allocate sufficient funds to infrastructure financing and growth enhancing? You can't see that clearly beyond 2026, and that is why we should take advantage of the regime change, the new mandate, a new wine in a new wineskin, and see how we can readjust the parameters and make considerable progress, particularly beyond 2026, if you are an investor.
Now, the executive director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Quartey, has opposed the government's decision to scrap the betting tax. Speaking at the post-2025 budget statement review in Accra, he stressed the need for the government to redirect betting tax revenues into impactful youth development programs rather than eliminating them.
2021, we are told road toll brings us 72 million, brought us 72 million cedis. Betting tax is around 140 million. Now, we want to introduce road toll, which is lower, and give out betting tax, which gives more. I don't know. You see, some of the diseases are very populist. I know the young ones who bet will not be happy with me, but I, for one, I am against this thing. You bet, you get earnings. I pay tax when I do consultants. I pay 20% of my consultants. Honorarium, I pay 20%. Betting, you've earned income and you are paying something, and you say it should be free. And because of votes and populism, we allow this. In other jurisdictions, betting is like a hobby. After work, then you go and bet and play casino, drink, beer, guineas with your friends, and come home and sleep. People want to turn betting into a way of work, like employment. No, tax and use the money to develop something for the youth, the young ones. This is not a sustainable thing. So when I see the youth arguing, when you talk about betting tax, then they start insulting you. I don't understand. This is not your future. If somebody is moving you into this, that's not your future. You need sustainable jobs. So I don't support this scrapping of betting tax on earnings. You have to be taxed, but let's use the money, develop sports, develop something that the young people can meaningfully engage in.
Let's get into our commodities market now. It's a wrap for business. Handing over back to Sweetie Abochi.
Well, thank you, Ben, for serving us business updates. Coming up next is News Review, because that ends the AM News Bulletin on the AM show. And our guest joining us for News Review, two academics, Dr. Kwame Asasante, head for the Center of European Studies at the University of Ghana, and Dr. Jibril Mohammed. He's also a lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. Stay with us. We'll be right back with the News Review segment.